Hello, and welcome to the Poison Paint Factory. My factory designated name is Poison226. Nice to meet you. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, roll up, roll up. He, ha. Come one, come all, the circus has come to town. Ho, he, ha. He may be a few clowns short of a circus, but that don't stop Mr. J from having fun. Spine-chilling, gut-spilling, side-splitting, disgusting. Amusement, bemusement, entertainment, maleficent. Laughing gas, acid splash. Playing cards, fake cigars. The many toys of Mr. J to send the Batman on his way. In this video, we will question who is the Joker in the pack? What are the motives of a madman? And we'll speculate what would happen if his worst nightmare came true. The Batman being defeated at the hands of someone else. Today, I want to talk about the clown prince of crime, the Joker.
You want to know how I got these scars?
Did any of you hear about the one about the escaped patient hunting down the guards and killing them one by one? No? Stick around. Does everyone think you're a joke? Why not write your own punchline and get the last laugh? Wait for it. Disclaimer. A lot of the information presented in this video is public information that I researched alongside my interpretations and opinions. Sources will be linked in the description, and yes, there will be spoilers. So, with all that said, let's get to it. Who is the Joker? The Joker looks like this, or this, and even like this. Since his first appearance back in spring 1940, he's been in countless comics, movies, and games. You name it, he's in it. Created by Bill Finger, Bob Kane, and Jerry Robinson in what was meant to be a one-and-done villain, he was saved from being killed off by the then editor Whitney Ellsworth. To think that could have been the end of the Joker before he even got started. The story of his inception has changed over the years, with one or another of the three taking a larger share of the credit, but the basic ingredients in all the stories are the same. This is also true of the Joker's actual backstory in the comics. Life does, in fact, imitate art. According to most sources, the Joker was created as follows: Jerry Robinson with his Joker playing card design, Bill Finger with the clown face logo from Coney Island, and a picture of Conrad Veidt in his makeup from the 1928 film The Man Who Laughs, and Bob Kane, who designed him as he became in the comic book. That isn't to say Robinson and Finger didn't bring anything more to the table. They also helped develop the character and concept as he became more of the man we know today. But only these three men know the truth of who created the Joker. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, aren't we? Is the Joker insane, or is it us, the law-abiding public? Has he truly pulled back the curtain and seen what we dare not see? I don't know, but if he did, whatever he saw gave him a good laugh. The Joker is arguably Batman's most popular and most featured villain, but who is he? Well, some of his origin stories are similar but hold key differences, in the same vein as how Bruce Wayne became Batman, or more specifically, how his mother and father died and put him on the path to becoming a paragon of justice. I believe giving the Joker a true origin would weaken the character personally, but there have been theories that the Joker doesn't even know his own origins. Heath Ledger's Joker really exemplifies this aspect of the character, with the origins of his scars changing with each recital. Or could he just be messing with his victims? Who knows? His first origin story was told in Batman issue 168, where he worked in a chemical plant but became the Red Hood to steal from the Monarch playing card company next door. He swam through the pools of chemical waste to avoid attention, but this turned his skin white and his hair green. After this, he committed to the bit and became the clown prince of crime, the Joker. The origin was expanded on in 1988's The Killing Joke. Moore turned the original origin for the Joker and made him more of a tragic character. In this version, the Joker, or should I say the man he was before he became the Joker, was just a normal guy. He had a pregnant wife, he was trying to make it as a comedian but failing, and he was offered a way out by some mobsters. If he took on the mantle of the Red Hood, he wouldn't have to worry about money again. On the day of the heist, the job he was doing for the mobsters? Yeah, he was guiding them through the chemical plant to rob the playing card company next door. Yeah, so on the day of the heist, he finds out there's been a fire and his wife was, well, now he's a widower. He's getting cold feet from his evening activity, but the mobsters convince him to go ahead with the plan. Under the guise of the Red Hood and the cover of darkness, they attempt to break into the chemical plant, but are caught out by the security guard. Things escalate quickly, and the two mobsters are shot dead, while our red-hooded hero legs it as Batman pursues. With this added pressure, there's a misstep and the man falls into a toxic vat, where the rest is history. He is reborn as the Joker. The rest of the book is just as iconic, with Barbaragordon, aka Batgirl, getting shot in the stomach and becoming paralysed, which is the trigger for the Joker's plan, to prove that all it takes to drive an everyman insane like him is one bad day. Commissioner Gordon manages to survive the Joker's torture with his sanity intact, and Batman captures the Joker, returning us to the status quo. So we have something of an origin, but what about his real name? Well, he's used names such as Joe Kerr, Dr. J. Rico, Dr. Laffo, Jack Napier, Jack White, and Oberon Sexton, to name some of the most famous. Most of these names have been used as gag names, but only Jack Napier has been used in a serious context. This being the 1989 Batman movie starring Jack Nicholson as the clown-faced killer. Even this might be an alias, as it could be a play on the word jackanapes, or a combination of Jack from Jack Nicholson and Napier from Alan Napier, who portrayed Alfred Pennyworth in the 1960s Batman TV series, who had just passed away the previous year. Jack is a recurring first name for him though, so that could mean something. Like his nemesis Batman, the Joker has no real powers, but he doesn't let that stop him causing carnage. He has a sharp wit, a keen intellect, and is unparalleled in his unpredictability and scheming. But despite his smaller size, he is also quite proficient at hand-to-hand combat and can hold his own, give or take, with Batman. Batman may be bigger and stronger, but the Joker is quicker and more agile, often giving him the edge to slip out of the Caped Crusader's grasp. Does insanity count as a superpower? He has insanity in spades. Or does he understand the world he inhabits better than anyone else? He can sometimes be found breaking the fourth wall and talking with the reader, so this could count as another level of self-awareness, similar to Marvel's Deadpool. He is unpredictable. Sometimes he seems to do awful things just to entertain himself, but other times it's all part of a greater scheme. You just don't know until the final curtain. On the alignment chart, he is absolutely chaotic evil, and as Michael Caine once said,
"Some men just want to watch the world burn."
Not only are his schemes unpredictable, but even when he's been defeated, the Joker has an uncanny ability to somehow cheat death. This may be more to luck than anything, but he has been shot, stabbed, fallen from great heights, been caught in explosions, and yet lived, which ties in with the Houdini-level escape artistry. Just ask the guards at Arkham Asylum. Gadgets. Did someone say bat-related weapons? Well, if Batman has his gadgets, it's only fair that the Joker gets some, but his are way more fun. Some of his most popular thematic weapons are his prop gun that shoots a flag saying BANG! But sometimes also just fires projectiles. A hand buzzer that electrocutes his victim on contact. A fake flower that he wears in his lapel that sprays acid. various toys that dispel a poisonous laughing gas. You get the gist. If it can be found in a joke shop, it can be weaponized. More often than not, the Joker doesn't play nice with others. Some would say the only person the other villains are more afraid of than Batman is the Joker. This is to be expected when he treats people who are fond of him, like Harley Quinn, so poorly, and his henchmen fatally. But anyway, who needs superpowers when you can just beat a hero to death with a crowbar? Okay, quick history lesson. Jason Todd got the short straw in comics, like the Ben Reilly Spider-Man, which is kind of funny because they were both created by the same man, Jerry Conway. Jason was the second boy wonder, but he didn't get a new origin or costume. Both were borrowed from his predecessor, Dick Grayson. He did get his own origin later, but it was too little too late. In 1988, the story A Death in the Family featured a unique choose-your-own-fate style of ending that had been voted for by readers. The first Robin, Dick Grayson, had left Batman to fight crime as Nightwing. Enter Jason Todd, orphaned, bratty and angry. Bruce Wayne took him under his bat wing and eventually trained him to become the second Robin. The beginning of the Death in the Family story shows Jason being reckless and Bruce deciding to take him off active duty until he becomes more stable. Jason didn't take well to this and decides to run away, finding out his biological mum is still alive and goes looking for her. The Joker has escaped Arkham and has been holding on to a cruise missile for a rainy day. Now he's going to sell it to terrorists. Sure, okay, why not? Batman and Robin meet up randomly, decide to make amends and go after the Joker, but the terrorists accidentally blow up the cruise missile, ruining the Joker's first plan. Jason is reunited with his biological mother, but finds out she's being blackmailed by the Joker. Jason is betrayed by his mother, beaten to within an inch of his life, then tied up with his mother to a bomb. If readers had voted for Robin to live, it would have been a very different story. Well, the ongoing story would have been different, but the Death in the Family story would have largely been unchanged. That's not the outcome readers voted for. Robin was to die in that explosion, and so his mother, in her final moments alive, told Batman what a wonderful person Jason was, trying to save her, and I can't help but feel that this was a projection from the writer, and that he too felt that Jason hadn't had a fair shot. But alas, you have to give the readers what they want. The iconic image of Batman cradling his dead protege is genuinely quite touching. After this, the Joker becomes the new Iranian ambassador to the UN, gifting him diplomatic immunity, which is just super weird to see in a comic book. Superman drops by to warn Batman that he can't touch the Joker now, and he's there to keep him in line. The Joker goes to the UN and delivers a speech where, at its climax, he releases his lethal laughing gas. Superman sucks in all the gas, the Joker sets off some explosives he's already planted, and makes for his escape. Honestly, A Death in the Family is a hard one to read. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's really bad. Most of the Joker stuff is terrible, but anytime Jason Todd is featured, it's good, moving, and even sometimes emotional. It's a hard recommendation for only hardcore Batman and Jason Todd fans. Skip if you're only here for the Joker, unless you want to see some of his more questionable choices. We touched on this earlier, but yes, the Joker is probably a functioning insano. But there have been times in the comics where he has been sane. In those moments, he seems genuinely remorseful for what he's done, even if it is only short-lived, and he goes back to his normal state of mind by the end of the arc. For example, the comic Arkhamasylum, A Serious House on a Serious Earth, is a wonderful romp through the halls of Arkham, meeting with the best of Batman's rogue gallery. But what makes it so interesting is, well, firstly its art style, which is about as multifaceted as the Joker himself, but how the book tackles the inmate's concept of sanity. Two-Face has his coin taken away from him and replaced with a die, then a tarot deck, making even the simplest decisions difficult for him. The Joker is described as having super sanity, where he is hyper-aware of his surroundings and reinvents himself accordingly. This leads to what I have dubbed the murderous intent scale. On one side is a harmless prankster, and the other a homicidal maniac. This truly encompasses and embraces all other versions of the Joker that came before this book, legitimizing all the different continuities and thereby raising the question, what is actually wrong with the Joker? Could it be multiple personality disorder? Perhaps an extreme anxiety disorder such as a dysphoria? not to mention his obsessive compulsion with Batman. Goingsane is a great look on how the Joker would respond to killing Batman. He thinks he's managed to finally defeat his nemesis, and with that his sanity is returned to him, until he finds out he didn't actually kill him, so his gift of insanity is restored. In another book, the Joker becomes temporarily sane when Batman puts him in a Lazarus pit to save his life. Each time the Joker is rendered sane, he shows some regret for what he's done and wishes to make amends, but the comic book almost always returns to status quo either by the end of the issue, arc, or in a year or so. And with this example, Joker's sanity returns to the edges of his fractured mind, which leads nicely on to his moral code. A bad guy can acknowledge they are a bad guy and still be bad, right? Well, the Joker is an honest thief. He openly admits to any crime he commits, and he hates being credited with a crime he didn't have a hand in. In Devil's Advocate, people were dying of Joker venom laced postage stamps. He looked guilty and was even placed on death row, but he stated he was innocent. He said he wouldn't stoop so low as to only place the Joker venom on the stamps. It would have to be a much grander scheme if it was him, which even Batman conceded to. This doesn't make him a good person though. Remember, he's a bad guy, so he actually killed people.
And not just the men, but the women. And the children too.
And worst of all, the Joker gets away with it due to his perceived insanity, so he gets locked up in Arkham Asylum every single time. The absolute kicker for Batman is the Joker seems to be able to escape without anyone noticing and refers to Arkham as his resting ground between his performances. On the positive side, the Joker has referred to himself as an American lunatic, denouncing the actions of fellow evildoer and Nazi, the Red Skull. So even the Nazis are too evil for a killer clown, not from outer space. One last thing to remember when you think the Joker can't be all that bad. In one story arc, he received reality warping powers and set his sights on destroying the universe, killing everyone. The reason? Because if he was so evil and allowed to exist, then the universe must be inherently broken and needs to be reset. It is kind of sad when you think about it, that level of self-awareness and self-loathing. You know the two masks found in the theatre? Well, the sad one is called Melpomene and represents the muse of tragedy. The happy one, that's called Thalia and represents the muse of comedy. Why am I telling you this? Well, the Joker represents both of these elements. He has the light-hearted prankster persona who just wants to get a rise out of Batman, which I'd say is Thalia. He also has the side that is Melpomene. When he's this depressive, destructive side, he is sadistic. A great example of this can be found in the comic Joker. I'm only going to recommend this one here and not spoil it for you, as it is absolutely my favourite out of all the Joker comics I've read for this video. If you like the Dark Knight movie and Heath Ledger's performance of the Joker, this is the comic for you. It seems that his whole goal in the DC universe is to twist reality to suit his way of thinking and to goad Batman and other goodies to break their own rules and do the unthinkable. For example, with Batman, his one rule is never to kill. Well, the Joker will be more than happy to push Batman to break his rule, even if he died in the process. At least he would die laughing. His other goal is to prove that all it takes to become like him is to have one bad day, which is a recurring theme in these appearances and central to the story of The Killing Joke. So let's take these two faces of Joker and the murderous intent scale and go through some of his overarching stories in more detail. Out the gates of this wacky house of mirrors, his first appearance was as a remorseless serial killer and jewel thief. His modus operandi was using the Joker venom on his victims, leaving them with his calling card Joker Smile. Okay, so that's a good start, killing dozens of people and derailing a train. Don't try this at home, kids. I also want to point out that this is just a street-level criminal. No giant robots, no mutants, or laser beams from a moon-sized space station.
Which was the style at the time?
Could he continue on like this? Would Batman stop his murderous rampage? No. Actually, it was self-censoring from the comic book creators themselves. At this time, the comics industry was moving away from the pulpy elements that had made it popular and were aiming to market to younger children. And with this, the Joker had his murderous comedy declawed and defanged. This would really take effect from issue 13 and lasted the rest of the Golden Age. Or about 15 years to you non-nerds out there. There's always been a moral panic, be it board games like Dungeons & Dragons, violent video games, devil music, or just regular old satanic panics. The Silver Age of comics was marred by pearl clutching too. Unfortunately, the family-friendly image we have of comics today was not the case back then, and the Comics Code came into full effect, banning and censoring gore, innuendo, or any excessive violence. So, this solidified the Joker as the goofy persona he was depicted as back in the 1966 live-action Batman show, portrayed by Cesar Romero. You might notice that the Joker was more elusive in the Batman comics for a little while around 1964. This was because the editor actually hated the Joker and tried to keep him out of comics. Eventually, help arrived, and they lifted the struggling comic back to its rightful place at the top of the comic charts by giving the Joker his fangs back in the form of lethal toys and homicidal crimes. The Joker must have needed a break from hell-raising, as he disappeared from comics for 4 years, returning in 1973 when he was revitalized in the tale The Joker's Five-Way Revenge. He was everything you could hope for: impulsive, chaotic, bloodthirsty. Later, a new team brought a new take on the character with the Laughing Fish arc. This Joker was poisoning fish with his laughing toxin to hit the fisherman with a copyright claim and make some money. In this story, he is ludicrous, but also homicidal. He skirts the line between the two versions of the Joker that are popular and make a silly gimmick work. This, and a lot of the other work at this time, went on to be incorporated into the 1992 Batman animated series. The Joker was already pretty dark at this point in his career, but from the 1980s we started to get more edge to our comic books. See my video about Spawn for more 90s edgy goodness. Comics were again seen for all audiences and not just children. You got more blood, more adult themes, and more complex overarching stories. More guns and pouches too, but I daren't tell you about that in fear of...
Hello?
Don't acknowledge him and he'll go away.
I heard someone say guns and pouches.
Batman had grown up in the public's eyes with the advent of Tim Burton's Batman and Batman Returns. Comic movies were like The Crow, Blade, V for Vendetta, Darkman. That's what the public wanted to see. Dark superhero movies. The current Joker is less Saturday morning cartoon like the version in the 90s Batman animated series, and more the evil conniver, tormentor of Batman, murderer of innocents. But that doesn't mean he'll be like that forever. He can be whoever he wants to be. Today a homicidal maniac, tomorrow an original prankster with a YouTube channel and TikTok account hassling people in public. Over the modern age of comics, Joker has killed Jason Todd, paralysed Barbaragordon, and even shown he is willing to remove his own face, all for a gag, or to try and tip the Bat family into distrusting and infighting. Now, if that isn't a wild and great segue. Batman and Joker's relationship is a complicated one, that's for sure. Their ultimate goal is the complete opposite of one another, so they are always at odds. That said, they both feel that they need the other to exist to make them feel like they are needed. The Joker refuses to kill Batman. He has had many opportunities to kill him, but finds their call and response so much fun. And Batman is always a willing participant in his little games. As I stated before, the Joker just has to make the Dark Knight break his one rule and kill. And in all honesty, as much as I agree with Batman that no one has the right to take a life, Gotham would be a safer place without the Joker in it. Think of all the lives saved over the years if his was snuffed out. Can we get some insightful quotes from the pair about their bromance, but can you put it to some sensual royalty-free jazz, please, boss?
You can't kill me without becoming like me. I can't kill you without losing the only human being who can keep up with me. Isn't it ironic? I could never kill you. Where would the act be without my straight man? You won't kill me out of some misplaced sense of self-righteousness, and I won't kill you because you're just too much fun. I think you and I are destined to do this forever. It's people like you who weigh him down, clutching at his cape, drowning him with your empathy and your compassion.
Has Bats almost done the bad thing? Oh yeah, the paragon of justice, the Dark Knight. He almost ended the Joker's life many times, but has always had a clarity of judgment just before he's able to go through with it. He knows that's what the Joker wants, and that's why he fights so desperately against what some might say is the only way to stop the Joker's ongoing body count. The same can be said about the Joker. It is too much fun playing with Batman. So when the opportunity arises, he often loses his stomach for it and allows Batman to slip the net. They both know they need each other. It's an abusive relationship with no end in sight. Before we wrap up this video and see what the what if scenario has to offer, let's take a quick peek at Quickfire Round. Where else can you find the Joker? Bear in mind, I've done my best to find him, but this little trickster has been in a lot of media outside of comic books, sometimes where you least expect him, so there are bound to be some that I've missed. With that said, lastly, before we get into the alternate reality, how do you think this video connects with the last one? What is the link between the Joker and Count Dooku? Let me know what you think in the comments. What if Harley Quinn killed Batman to gain the Joker's love? Well, if any of you have read Batman Madlove, which is one of Harley Quinn's first outings in comic book form, you'll kinda know where I'm going with this one, but
Here we go.
the Joker is in a slump, a real bad mood, and Harley can't stand to see a pudding in a bad mood. So how can she cheer up Mr. J? Maybe if she took Batman out of the picture, she could have the Joker's attention all to herself, instead of this being this love triangle of sorts. Harley might play the fool, but she has a brilliant mind when she puts her all into something. Her strengths? Well, she's a gifted gymnast, so if she can get Batman nice and high, preferably on a tiny ledge, she'll have the advantage, and with that, the plan starts to unfold. Batman is beckoned to the abandoned building at the behest of Harley. She claims that the Joker has gone mad and beaten her. She needs help, and he's the only one she can count on. She feeds the Bat's ego, picking him up, lifting his spirits at the thought of being a white knight, saving a damsel in distress. Batman rushes the stairs, climbs out the window, and reaches his hand out to Harley. She slips, and he grabs her hand. It's only as he's falling that he realizes that she never slipped at all. She just used her momentum to pull him out from this precarious position. But it's too late. Pride before a fall. Batman lays broken. He didn't have enough time to react and use a grappling hook or anything. He can't move. His back's broken. This is when a familiar shadow looms over him. Harley.
Now, Bats, not this time. What you gonna get so dirt nap you're not gonna wake from? Mr. J's gonna be so proud of me. Now close your eyes and let's see how long you can hold your breath.
And with that, the sound of machinery, a digger. It's not long before the task is complete, an unmarked grave for the Dark Knight. He might be found, thinks Harley, but it will be far, far too late. Harley rings up the Joker and tells him to rush over.
Bring your best dancing shoes, Puddin'. I've got a surprise for you.
Her giddy tone of voice tells him something's up, but he grabs his hat and coat and heads out anyway. A heart is sprayed on the wall with HQ and Mr. J in the middle, and an arrow pointing to where she wants him to go. What he finds is a mound of freshly dug earth, a crude cross made from a pair of timbers, and a batarang impaled in it. He knows instantly what she's done. She's done what he could not. The Batman is dead. And all he feels is the deepest emptiness in his stomach.
I did it, Puddin'. The bat is dead.
The Joker can't muster a word. His body shaking. The cold feeling in his stomach growing warmer. It becomes a raging fire. And all he can do is scream as he launches himself at his former partner in crime. All Harley could think, as her world dims to black, was that maybe
He didn't get the joke.
Well, that's it, kiddos. We've had some laughs, some tears, but it's time for the final curtain. Keep smiling, and remember,
You're only one bad day away from not giving a damn. And wouldn't that be nice,
And so, with all that said, thank you for your time. I wish you a good day, and many more besides. Yours, forever in horror, 226.
Oh, come now.
Mini backlog.
What in this miserable world is more beautiful than a nice big smile?
Naughty, naughty! Jump around like that and Doctor won't give you a layer pain.
You little gun!
My. This doesn't look good at all. I'm afraid everything will have to go.